Well, it's like Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until I hit them in the mouth.
Well, he's right. Man, you are right about that. And suddenly, you know, life hits you and you roll with it. And those are what successful people do. Okay, this is here now, and I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to have a slightly different life from now on, but I'm still going to be who I am. I'm still going to care about what I care about. I'm still going to be interested in the kids at the Springer. I'm still going to focus as much of my life as I can on Max. I'm going to meet new people. That doesn't change.
So your diagnosis, when did you receive it?
On October 1st.
And it was what kind of cancer?
I have pancreatic cancer, stage 4.
What's the prognosis?
Well, it depends on who you ask. They are not, none of them are real easy to pin down, because they all want to give you the benefit of the doubt. And a doctor didn't tell me this, but one of the nurses, one of the chemotherapy education specialists said, let me tell you something about timelines. Everything is decided by you. You decide how long you're going to live. And so if you want to live a year, that's what it's going to be. If you want to live 2, if you want to live more, less, it's all up to you. I said, well, okay, I'll take that. But the parameters are generally a year, give or take. One of the things a life in the arts teaches you is improv is an important daily tool. We're all going to improv our way through life just a bit anyway. We're either going to be good at it or we're going to suck at it. Well, in theater, we teach you how to be okay with improv, how to make a bold choice. There are no right choices or wrong choices in improv class. There are bold choices and weak choices. Make a bold choice, and then we'll talk about it. And remember, there's a group of people here supporting you, help you figure out that bold choice, but go with it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And I think that's what the arts teaches you. To think creatively and not be afraid of life. Not be afraid that my plan is going to be interrupted, shortchanged, stopped in its track. At some point, drama, theater anyway, entered my life, and it was because I was an English teacher. And one day, the principal walked into my office in Louisville High School. He said, Mr. Anderson, the high school drama club needs a faculty advisor. Would you be interested? And I thought, sounds dangerous, count me in, you know? So, to steal a line from The Right Stuff. And I started doing that, and I thought, my God, I am teaching the wrong subject. I didn't know anything about drama, anything about theater. But I had an affinity for it, a love and a passion for it right away, a connection with the students that I don't remember from any of my English classes. I said, I have got to go back to school. And so I went back to UGA in the graduate program, University of Georgia. And one thing led to another, and here I am, 40 years later.
I saw on your Facebook post recently, you showed a picture of y'all's wedding and said 2 kids who jumped off a cliff.
We did. We held hands and jumped off a cliff. It felt like Butch and Sundance. We had no idea what we were doing. And we got married in the chapel of the Baptist Student Center on the University of Georgia campus. We got married on a little stage with absolutely nothing on it, done in an arena style with audience sitting around, family and friends sitting around. At the end of the ceremony, my grandmother was so confused, she leaned over and said to my mother, "Are they married yet?" And, and we were kids.
How long have you and Debbie been married?
36 years. 36 years, which in my business is unheard of. In the entertainment business, 36 days, is more the average. So 36 years, that woman has put up with me. Her older brother, Tony, and I were fishing buddies in college. And I knew he was a singer, and I saw him at nightclubs and things like that. One day he says, I got a sister. I said, you do? Well, what's her name? Her name's Debbie. Why don't y'all come see us at the UGA talent show? And I saw her that night singing on stage with Tony, and I was absolutely smitten. Just smitten. I said, my God, who is this woman? And bizarrely enough, I think the song that got to me was Where the Boys Are. Now you'd think that's a strange song, but I had never heard such connection to a song. I think she'd just been dumped by 2 or 3 guys in a row, so it kind of made sense. But people say about this about Debbie, and it's true. They say, some people sing songs. Debbie is songs. it's just an absolutely pure connection with music, no matter what it is, whether it's country gospel or Where the Boys Are, or coloratura soprano, or singing, cantering at the temple, or singing at, it doesn't matter. Debbie is pure music, and I was just smitten. And I said, I have got to get to know this woman. Okay, fishing buddy, yeah, take a number. Tell me about your sister. She was dating a good friend of mine. His name is Wendell. He's still around. Tall, good-looking guy. So am I, but he's better looking. There was, without getting into too much detail, there was a big Christian seminar thing that happened at Fulton County Stadium, with a guy named Bill Gothard who would come around, and lots of students, because we were all sort of connected to the Baptist Student Union, went to Atlanta to attend this thing. My sister went to this seminar and rode in a car with this guy named Wendell. Debbie didn't go either. By the end of the week, my sister comes to me and says, Wendell and I are engaged. I said, Wendell, who's dating Debbie, is engaged to you? She said, yeah. Does Debbie know? She said, no. So, holy cow. So now I'm in the bizarre position of having intense feelings for Debbie, but not thinking that I'm in a position to do anything about it because she's spoken for, at least I thought.
Talk about conflict.
And now in the possession of this information that could change all of our lives in a heartbeat. And what do I do with this moral dilemma? And so I didn't tell her. I couldn't tell her. I didn't think it was my job. I said, Wendell, you got to fess up, man. I mean, I'm all for you, and I love my sister, and they're still together. They're a wonderful, wonderful couple. But then that sent Debbie off on sort of a tailspin. She toured Europe with a singing group for a while, and so we had this long distance thing. But our very first date was my sister's wedding. Started working in theater and moving around the country and doing vagabond stuff. And whenever we'd feel an urge to move, we'd sell everything we owned except what would fit in our Volkswagen Rabbit. If it didn't fit in the Rabbit, it didn't go with us. So we're driving back and forth all over the place, and we'd always sort of say, so we hadn't talked about this in a while, what do you think? And we both say, I don't know, I'm thinking no. Okay, right, I'm thinking no. We just moved too much. It never occurred to us that we could be in one place long enough to even think about having a child. My sister had a bunch of kids, my brother had a bunch of kids, my mother had made her peace with it many years ago. And then one day we're driving, we're sitting in the car in the Rabbit. We're driving to a piano vocal gig of Debbie's, and I said, you know, I think I come up with maybe more often than you do. She said, what? I said, yeah, I think I come up with maybe. More than I do? Well, I've been coming up with maybe. Really? You've been coming up with, yes, I have. Well, I've mentioned it, you didn't mention it. So we had this argument about who's thinking maybe. And so eventually we said, yeah, we need to do this. We need to have a child, and whether we live in Milwaukee, in Tennessee, in Ohio, in Georgia, it doesn't matter. We will make this work because this is important now. And you know, when you get to that point, it's a moment of clarity, and you think, what were we thinking? You don't decide to have a child based on where you're living or what your income or what your job is. I mean, you should think about those things. There's only one reason to have a child. You want to. And you feel compelled to, and you feel driven to be a parent, whether you know what that is or not. But we were married a good 15 years before Max came along. I mean, I was doing what I do at a big professional children's theater in Milwaukee, First Stage Children's Theater. I was very good at it, very successful at it, running a huge program, bigger than the one here. Was an associate director of the company, acting, directing, doing everything. Debbie was everybody's favorite soprano in town. We had a good life. Paul and I were in school together at UGA in the drama department, so we'd known each other a long time. He flew up.
Were y'all friends?
Oh yeah, good friends, even though we'd sort of crossed trails quite a bit over the years. Theater's a very small community. He flew up and he saw the program I was running, and he said, so I want to tell you a story. He said, I think we can do this at the spring, but let me tell you a story about the Columbus Challenge. And when he laid that story, I just never heard of anything quite like that. And a community this size doing something like that. He said, I want to tell you about the Springer. And he talked about the Springer and the aura of the place and the spiritual nature of the place and the people who'd been there and the work that was going on there and the passion of Dot McClure and Clayson Kyle and Janice Biggers and Chuck McClure and Ed Neal, who had saved this place and had a vision for it for the future. And I said, my God, this is a place that is calling me to come and serve. And I am not going to say no. We were taking a bow after a show one night. I felt another presence with us. And I looked at David and I said, did you? He said, yeah, what was that? I said, I don't know, but it felt good. He said, yeah, it did. It was as if there were some other presence there with us, encouraging us, saying, not bad, kid. That sort of Burgess Meredith, yeah, Rocky, go out there and hit him once more. You're doing okay. Keep doing this. You're in the right place. Welcome home. And I felt at home. I thought we came here for me to work at the Springer and for Debbie to find something comparable to the artistic opportunity she had in Milwaukee. I thought that's why we came here. And that's not inaccurate, it's just not complete. The complete story is we came here to build a community for Max. We didn't know, of course, about Max. When we came here, he was only 2. But as we've come to know what autism is, and embrace it, and love it, and this child, this incredible young man, there's a community of people who have sprung up around him, who rally around him, who want to be part of his life. And now that I know that my part of his life has a timeline on it, I feel so good about this other group of people who are going to move that forward. And because we have been open, I think, to the possibilities of the community that is Columbus, because Columbus has provided us opportunities to invest ourselves in it, that is paying back. And this group of people who want to help Max find his life, that's going to happen, and I can feel good about starting to let that go.
Have you talked to Max about your situation?
Yes. We've not tried to keep him out of the loop at any step. We haven't talked to him about a timeline. I'm not sure that that's helpful, and the truth is, nobody knows what the timeline is. Maybe it's a year, maybe less, maybe more. We don't know. We have talked to him about what is cancer, what is the pancreas, how does that work, why am I sick, why did I get it, what's it going to make me feel like, what are the chemicals, who are the doctors. We've talked to him every step of the way. And even last night, he and I were talking again just before a bedtime story. I said, you know, I feel better today than I did yesterday. He said, well, I'm glad. He's still very formal about all that. And I said, you know, Max, the chemicals are probably not going to cure me of this, but they are going to allow you and me to spend time together. And he thought about that for a minute and he said, well, that's a good thing. And he sees things very black and white. So at some point he will know that, okay, I'm not going to be around much longer, and there may actually be a timeline on it that we discuss with him, and that will be that, and then we'll move on. In a way, it's comforting to know somebody who can deal with it in a very sort of black and white way. You're alive now, or you're not. But he understands clearly that my spirit will live on. And said, Max, my spirit will be with you, just like my Father's spirit is with me right now. My spirit will be with you, and I will always be your Father. So I think he gets that.